It is time for Week 18, the final week in the NFL season, right before the playoffs start. This is our second to last two podcast week. Next week we'll have two podcasts, and then we'll be going down to one once the playoffs start. But Al, are you ready to dive into Week 18, the impossible week?
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, let's do it, my man. Let's give it our best effort. And yes, well named.
Just can't. Ah, man.
Holy crap! And yeah, we have two Saturday games this week. The whole schedule this week is on Saturday and Sunday, so we're back to some kind of normalcy in that regard, at
Which
least.
is why we're doing the podcast a little later. We
Oh,
did
we didn't
not.
even talk about that, did we?
Yeah, we didn't record on Tuesday like we normally do. That was New Year's Eve. We normally do it Tuesday evening, which would have been past New Year's, which would have gone past New Year's. But since there's no Thursday game this week, we decided to do it today. And yeah, let's dive right in.
All right, my man. Well, they set us up with some important games on Saturday. The first one is the biggest point spread I've seen all year, and that is the Browns at the Ravens. And the spread is, I saw, is 19, minus 17 and a half. Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens are playing everybody.
Well, they have to they haven't clinched the division yet.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So they have to. Okay. Well, this is one of the easier ones. Finally, thankfully.
Yeah, right.
So I got a big spread here. I got 35-16.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've sung the praises of Baltimore all year. They should win this one handily and easily. And yeah, not a whole lot to say. Cleveland's not. I don't think is going to give up much of a fight. It's in Baltimore on top of everything.
Yeah,
So yeah, Baltimore pretty easily in a game they need.
I agree, 1,000%. My score is even slightly bigger, 40-13.
Yeah,
Um,
I can see it. I mean, anything is on the table at this point.
it really is. And
Mm,
to
I do want
revisit.
to mention one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, please.
Baltimore's defense is playing a lot better. A
Absolutely,
lot better.
absolutely, man. No, that's a great call. Great call. Because it was an albatross around their neck 6 weeks ago.
But for some reason, they have turned it around and they're playing really good on defense now, too,
Absolutely. No,
which is
I
scary.
that it's what they needed to be a real Super Bowl contender, and they are now. Because of it, because they before Lamar was just scoring, the whole offense is scoring points, but they're giving up just as many. But now they this is a real scary team heading into the playoffs now for sure. And the other thing I wanted to say about this game is this may be where Lamar wins the MVP. Because if the
Yeah.
Bengals end up not making the playoffs, Josh Allen isn't playing. Josh Allen's going to play one snap so he can keep his streak going, and that's it. So Lamar's going to have an extra week of stats on him, and his stats are already better. I mean, marginally, but they are better. And so this could seal the deal in the MVP race, depending how things shake out this weekend. So that's another thing to take into account when you're watching this one.
Yep. I got a question. If they win, can Pittsburgh still win the division?
No,
So if they win, Pittsburgh's playing Cincinnati. They might not
no,
play
because
everybody.
they are still playing for something. This is huge, actually, because listen to this. This is wild because I was wondering the same thing. Because I have fantasy implications, I have our podcast implications. So I was trying to figure out these playoff scenarios make my head spin, but I tried really hard to figure this one out because I knew it was important. The If the Pittsburgh gets the 5 seed, they go to Texas and play the Texans.
Right.
If they lose to the Bengals but still get the number 6 seed, which is one of the possibilities, they play Baltimore in Baltimore. So they have
Ooh.
a lot to play for.
All right. Very good. Very good. Okay. Next
So,
game.
okay, which next game is Bengals at Steelers. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this, except the last game of the week, which we'll talk about when we get to it.
Yeah. Well, the Steelers are not playing well, but it is in Pittsburgh. Um, Steelers will be playing for something, as you established. Um, I love how Cincinnati's playing. I don't love how Pittsburgh's playing, and I have Cincinnati doing it 24-20.
Isn't that wild, man? And if you had told me I was going to pick the Bengals on the road at the Steelers half a season ago, I would have told you're insane. But Here it is. And not only am I picking the Bengals are a -1.5 favorite on the road against the Steelers in a game that matters to both teams. So that is how far this season has been tilted on its head from what it was 6 weeks ago in this division.
Wow.
Isn't that something? So I'm taking the Bengals too. I'm going to make it just a little higher score, 31-27, but close like you did too.
Yeah, absolutely. 4-point wins both ways.
Yeah, and listen, if the Steelers want any chance of doing anything in the playoffs, they gotta win this game. I mean, they are. I think I think the scenario that allows the Bengals to make the playoffs, I think the Steelers get eliminated. I think. I'm pretty sure about that, but I'm not 100% sure. So they have a chance not to make the playoffs too. But if they want to do anything, they got to get this ship right going into crunch time here. So man, this is a big game for the Steelers, man, too.
I thought it was if for Cincinnati, Miami doesn't get in.
Well, Miami's not in right now.
Oh, okay. And Denver is?
Yes,
Okay,
maybe
okay.
it's
All right.
Denver that slides out, but
I think it's Denver. Yeah. The scenario I saw was just comparing Cincinnati, Denver, Miami. That was like those were the three.
yeah, that makes more sense because I was trying to remember who the lowest seed was, and I was thinking it was the Steelers, but it's the Broncos.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so now we move to Sunday at 1 and start with the Panthers at the Falcons in a game that matters big time to the Falcons because if they could win and not make the playoffs, but they can't lose and not make the playoffs.
Right. And I don't think they're going to lose. Carolina has packed it in. Chuba Hubbard's done. And we established at the last podcast that if Bryce Young doesn't have that running game, he really can't be dependent on to carry the whole load on offense. So I'm going to go Atlanta pretty comfortable, 30-19, especially since they're at home.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me, man. Perfect sense. Um, yeah, I want to see Penix play again. I want to see him
Yep.
continue to grow. I think you're absolutely right about the Chuba Hubbard factor. Um, and yeah, I'm going to pick the Falcons too, 23-12.
All right.
Okay, and now this is a weird one to pick right here, my man, because it's a the Texans at the Titans. The Texans have zero to play for. They can't change their position at all with a win or a loss. The Titans, who are one of the worst teams in football, are a 1 point favorite at home against a playoff football team, Craig. That's how far the Texans have fallen.
Right. And um,
And I know they don't have anything to play for, but still, this is the Titans.
did they announce that, like, in terms of people playing or not?
I saw that D'Amico Ryan says we have a plan, which
But
basically, if you read the tea leaves, it sounds like the starters are going to start but not play long.
jeez.
So it's a tough one because he's not coming right out. At least as of yesterday, he hadn't come right out and said anything specific.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to pick here. This is impossible. This is another. Yeah. This is what we talking. This is one of the. This is the first game that's just no idea at all. I'm
Oh,
just going
and
to go
real
with
quick,
it.
Craig, before you give your pick, here's the exact quote to see just how muddy it is. This is D'Amico Ryan's quoted. I mentioned to all our guys that everybody has to be ready to go. Everybody will be out there and playing, and then we'll see how the game goes. So what the hell does that mean?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It's a big middle finger to everybody who wants to know.
Exactly. That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right.
So having said that, I'm just going with the team that I think is better regardless, and that's Houston. Uh, no confidence at all in this, but I'm going Houston 21-15. I guess that's technically an upset. I did not pick an upset pick because I thought it was impossible. So if this is technically an upset, I guess I can pick that as my upset.
I love it. I love it. That's
Which, by
great.
the way, last week I didn't mention we both got our upsets wrong.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I love everything you said about that. And odd, let's check this out. If you subtract, I believe, a 1 point from your score on each team, you get mine. 20-14 Texans. And I don't have much to add to that one. It is just, can this fading Texans team beat a really bad team in a game that matters not a bit to either one of them?
Right.
Okay, moving on. We have Giants at Eagles, and this is another game that means absolutely nothing to the Eagles. So, from
It
what I
means something for the
gather,
Giants as long as they lose. They have to lose.
yeah, the Giants, and that's where I was heading. It only matters to the Giants in a positive way if they lose. So, yeah, this is a really weird one to pick too. But yeah, you go right ahead. I'm gonna try and find a Kenny Pickett update while you're talking.
All right. The visceral hatred of New York to Philadelphia is creating a conspiracy theory that Philadelphia is going to tank the game just to screw the Giants
Oh, I love it.
because they did that a couple years ago with Washington when they didn't play anybody against Washington and it screwed the Giants over. I
That
think
oh
so. They think they're going to do that again by literally just not doing anything at all offensively. Uh, the Giants are so bad. I still think Philadelphia is the better team, even with their backups.
yeah, I agree. I really do.
So I don't think Philadelphia is going to purposely tank it, although I wouldn't be surprised, and that would be great theater and funny.
It would be funny, yeah.
But I'm going Philadelphia. I'm going to 19-13 in an ugly, ugly game. Um, Regardless of who's quarterbacking, I'm not caveating anything. I'm not caveating any games this week because there's just no way to know. I could see this being literally like 9-3 Giants, something like that,
Yeah, right, right.
or 9-6, something stupid. Just Giants could definitely win this game, depending on how much Philadelphia, really puts effort in. But I'm, on the surface, I'm going Philadelphia. They're at home too. 19-13 Philly.
Right on, right on. Everything you said makes sense, man. It really does. Um, yeah, I love that the Giants think the Eagles give a shit enough about what they're doing while they're
Well,
heading
they
into the
did in
playoffs.
Washington. That Washington was absolutely on purpose. There's no doubt about that. They did that on purpose to screw the Giants. That one, I don't forget when it was. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. They weren't playing for any, or either they weren't playing for anything, or I forgot what the scenario was. But they ended up losing to Washington. They had no business losing that game, and it completely screwed the Giants.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't remember that, and I'm sure you're right. I'd have to look at it, but I just the arrogance of New York to think that the Eagles are thinking about them while they're heading into a potential Super Bowl run is hilarious to me. Yeah, the listen. I would take every quarterback on the Eagles roster over any quarterback on the Giants roster.
Yep.
So I don't care if they're on, and it looks like, by the way, Kenny Pickett has not practiced at all through Thursday. So it looks like we might be getting Tanner McKee, which I'd be fine with. And I'll still pick the Eagles, and I'm going to take them 27-21. I don't know about a score at all. Your score might be better, honestly, yeah, I'll take the Eagles against the Giants. The Giants, I don't think the Giants have to worry about what the Eagles are doing because they're bad enough to lose it on their own.
Right. Right. And what was the score? 27-20.
27-21. And if Drew Lock plays like that 2 weeks in a row, I'll eat my sock.
Yeah, I don't think he's very good.
No, I mean, not that good for sure. Not 304 touchdowns good every week. No chance. Oh, I love it. Anything else on that one, my man?
I got a little bit of information on that. It was during the Joe Judge era
Oh, okay,
of the
okay.
Giants, and
Who was
he
the coach for the
actually
Eagles? Was it Peterson or was it we were already on Sirianni? What year?
Peterson.
Okay.
Uh, Looks like this was 2021. He actually said it in the press conference that the Eagles disrespected them by effectively tanking in the regular season finale against Washington. And this guy who wrote the article says they absolutely did.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
To to put This is what Judge says. To me, you don't ever want to disrespect those players in our effort to and disrespect the game. To disrespect the effort that everyone put forward to make the season a success for the National Football League is by disrespecting this game, going out there and not competing for 60 minutes and doing everything you can to help those players win. You will never do that as long as I'm. We will never do that over here in New York, but in Philadelphia, that's exactly what they do.
That's hilarious. And listen, Joe Judge's opinion means about as much to me as the next time I fart.
Absolutely nothing.
And by the way, I pulled up the box score to that game while you were talking. It was 14-10 Philly at halftime. No, I'm sorry, with 10 seconds left in the first half. So, whatever Joe Judge thinks, the
I
Eagles
no,
were.
I will disagree there. I think they definitely did it on purpose. I think they lost on purpose. I do think they did it to screw the Giants. I really do. If Philadelphia had defeated Washington, Giants would have backed into the division title and assured themselves a home playoff game. But by the Eagles, and not only did the Eagles have nothing to gain from winning, but a victory would have settled them them with a worse position in April's draft, dropping them from sixth to ninth. So I think they wanted the better draft position, and also it also screwed the Giants. I
That
mean, we'll see. I mean, who knows? But it's just funny that it's out there. Took nothing to look it up. All I did was put in Philadelphia screws the Giants, and it filled in the rest
well, I love it,
by losing to Washington. It was already filled it in.
and there's a good chance it's true. There's a chance it's not, but I don't care because if it's in the Giants, if they're even thinking about it, then that means the Eagles are in their head in a really weird and
Yeah,
silly way. So I love
yeah, I
that.
do too. I do too.
Wow,
I just thought it was funny.
I love it. No, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot.
It,
I
but
kind of.
be, be,
I'm
but
sure I heard
because
about it at the time, but I forgot about it.
yeah, but because of that, they're thinking about it again now.
That's awesome. Oh my god, that's awesome. Oh.
I kind of hope I really do hope they beat them. Philadelphia, the Giants beat them, so then they go from like fourth to like eighth.
Oh my God, it would make it impossible to do anything then. Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't want the Eagles to lose, but yeah, that would be a nice consolation if they do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, now what do we got next here?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry. One last thing.
yeah, please, please.
When did they draft Jalen Hurts? Did that loss get them Jalen Hurts?
No,
No.
no,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
no, because
All right.
he played in that game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Never
so it
mind.
must have been that year. By the way, that was his rookie season, and he went 7 for 20 for 72 yards and a pick. That was
Yeah.
so that was not the Jalen Hurts of now.
Okay. Okay.
Geez, Alex Smith was their quarterback. How about that?
I remember that.
That was after that horrific. After he came back from that horrible injury.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Love it. No, that's awesome, man. That was good stuff. Okay, now speaking, we go from good stuff to horrible stuff. Jaguars at Colts.
Yeah, I don't care. I think Indianapolis is mailing it in. Flacco's the quarterback still. I initially said Jacksonville, but I actually am. If Flacco's going to quarterback, everybody's playing, right? Like the Taylor's playing and everything.
That's a great question. Let me see if I can find anything. I tried to find something out. I couldn't find anything yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to assume he is. So because they're at home as two bad teams, and Flacco's the best quarterback on the field for either team, so I'm just going to go Colts 23-20. But I initially did say Jacksonville. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm taking the home team that was a little better this year, even though they're coming off one of the worst losses any team had this whole season. Um, with very little confidence, but I'm going to do Colts 19-13.
All right. Yeah. All right. Um, I'm ready to move on.
All right. Next game's a lot more interesting. Commanders at Cowboys. And if I understand correctly, Washington is still playing for seeding position. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to play for Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. Dallas, no CD Lamb, no offense. I don't think they're going to be able to score much. Um, and I got a feeling like Parsons might bow out early. Um, so I just think Dallas, they're mailing it in. They're finishing up, and I think they're going to have a lackluster effort here. So I go 27-17 Washington, the better team regardless, but with all the other extenuating circumstances with Dallas, I think they're not going to be anywhere near to full strength or full capacity. Even with the guys they have, I don't think everybody's going to play the full game. 27-17 Washington.
Right on. Love it. Love it. I agree with everything you said. Yeah. The Commanders have been this has been a coming out party for them. They've got their quarterback for a long time. The whole franchise is in a whole different direction. They lost the albatross of Daniel Snyder, which is bad of a human being as that guy seems to be. It will disappoint me forever that he had to sell that team because they would have sucked till the end of time.
Yeah. No,
Um,
no, no. Now they're going to be a pain in our ass.
they're going to be
Both of
good
us.
for a long time now. Um, so all that being said, I'm taking Washington in a blowout because of all the stuff you said about the Cowboys. Just no CD Lamb just is enough of right there. But 28-13.
All right. Totally, totally on board with that. I mean, yeah. I might not even watch it.
Let me ask you this. It's been the weirdest season. Does Mike McCarthy survive when it's all said and done?
We'll get into that. We'll get into the firings of the coaches at the end.
I
That's
forgot we have that coming.
the
I'm
little
glad.
segment we're going to do at the end of this pod will be coaches on the hot seat, who's going to go, who we think's going to go, and who we think's going to stay.
I'd like to pretend I was really smart giving a preview there, but I completely forgot we were doing that. But that's awesome. I have my answers written down, so I am prepared. All right. Now, moving on. We have Bears at Packers.
Okay. Green Bay needs for positioning or no?
Yeah, they are. I'm going to double
I'm
check
I'm
while you're
pretty
talking.
sure they're playing everybody.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. I'll double
Yeah,
check just to make sure.
I mean Chicago stinks. They're really on the snide now. It's
They
gonna
are
be very
playing
interesting.
starters. I just confirmed.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go next year. I guess we'll see what happens, who they get as a coach. This other scenarios, things like that. But regardless, Green Bay's at home. If they're playing their starters, they're a much better team. 26-16 Green Bay comfortably.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, the Packers are going to wait. What was your score?
26-16.
That's my score. I love it. I really feel like we should get some kind of bonus when that happens.
What the hell? And
Oh, I
whenever that
love it,
happens,
man.
I'm praying to the gods that that's the actual score. That would be amazing.
That would be so awesome. That would be so awesome. Oh, that's great, man. Well, yeah. So I'm with you. Listen, the Packers had an incredibly disappointing game last week. It was not good. And they got handled by one of their division rivals, and they're going to finish third in the division because of it. But good news for them is best division in football, so it's not really a disgrace to finish third. They're still a
No,
good team, still way better than this awful Bears abomination. And like I said, I'm picking the same score you did, 26-16.
fantastic. I love it.
That's awesome, man. All right, moving on. We have another whopper of a point spread, and it's understandable why when you hear it's the Saints at the Buccaneers. I have Bucks at minus 13 on this one.
Right, because they're playing everybody.
They are playing everybody.
Because they got to win.
They have to win.
They win and they win the division, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. 28-13, Tampa Bay might be on the low side actually. Now that I think about it a little more, probably three or four touchdowns from Baker will seal the deal here. New Orleans won't put up much of a fight, and yeah, that's where I'm landing. 28-13.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me. Um, yeah, the Bucks, man, like it's weird because when they are good, they are really good. Like they've had a
Yeah.
couple. I mean, they've had games this year where they just look like world beaters, but they're barely above 500. So there's flaws with this team, but they're way better. I'll tell you what, man. As a guy who has a team he roots for in the NFC playoffs, I am rooting for the Bucks to lose and the Falcons to win because if it came down to it, I'd way rather play the Falcons.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I don't see it happening. And I'm picking the Bucks, and I'm picking them big, 33-12. But go Spencer Rattler.
But the thing is, they can lose, and Atlanta loses, and they,
And they still get in.
yeah, the only way they get knocked out is if Atlanta wins and they lose.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And they're both. Oh no, wait. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. I take that. Erase. Erase. Okay. Moving on. We have now. This is one of these games that involves people that aren't going to be playing. Bills at Patriots, and the Bills can't change anything. They have come out and said they are not playing most of their key players, and that means, by the way, Mitch Trubisky is your quarterback after snap one to get Josh Allen his streak.
Yep. Well, I still say they're that much better than New England, even on the road. I'm still going Buffalo.
Nice,
Going
nice.
Buffalo 21-14. But would it surprise me in the least if New England wins? Absolutely not, because this game means nothing, and it's very difficult to pick. This is one of those games that we've been talking about. Hard to pick. Would not surprise me in the least if New England wins, but I'm going to go Buffalo. Just going with the better team all year, figuring out a way.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. It really does. It's similar to that Eagles Giants game to me, and
Yep.
and Bills have to go on the road, but the Pats are horrible, so I don't really care about that much. Um, I'm going to pick the Bills in a close one, 23-20, but the Pats are my upset pick just because of the starters not playing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right.
Okay, that's all the 1 o'clockers. Moving on to 4, starting with the Chargers at the Raiders. And I don't know if the Chargers have something to play for. That I don't know.
No, they're in, but I don't. Well, they might maybe seeding, but they're in.
Okay. Okay.
I
So
don't know about seeding though. I could be
yeah, that's I'll double check on whether they're playing their people.
judging by the point spread. I think they're playing everybody.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, here it is. Chargers Jim Harbaugh mum on resting starters versus Raiders. So we don't know.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't. Well, I bet he's good at poker.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't know, so I'm just going to go on my belief on Chargers being a better team, and the Raiders just stink. And I'm going to go 27-12, even on the road for the Chargers. Um, yeah. Again, though, they don't play anybody. The Raiders could win this game. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm with. Listen, this is crazy because we just don't know. At least the other ones if they're not starting, we know, and then it's just a question of do you think that their backups can beat the bad team? In this one, we just don't have a clue. So I'm taking the Chargers here. But real quick, hold on a sec. I just want to look at one thing. I just do you know off the top of your head who the Chargers backup quarterback is? Because I don't.
Oh, actually, I do not either.
Okay, got it. Oh, it's Taylor Heineke. That's right. He played
Oh,
last year. I forgot about that. So he's
he's all
fine.
right.
Yeah, he's a solid backup. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers without even blinking, knowing that. So, and I'm going to take them as 29-13. No idea if
Oh,
that's valid or not, but what the hell.
all right.
Okay. Moving on. We got a game that means nothing to both teams. They're both eliminated. Nothing but pride and divisional crap on the line. 49ers at Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. I'm just
James
going
Conner
off
not playing.
who?
James Conner.
Not playing. Well, I'm going off of what I saw last week, and I saw the 49ers show a pulse for the first time in a while. It looked really good, even though they lost. But I don't think they're going to lose against Arizona team if they have that same kind of effort. So I'm going to go on off of that they're playing a little better now. They might have found something, and I'm still going to make it close because they haven't been playing like that all year. And they could definitely revert back. But I'm going with San Francisco 21-18.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know what to do with this one. So when in doubt, I'm going home team. I don't like it. But I don't like either of these teams. These are two of the most inconsistent teams in football. If they would just either just suck or be good, it would be a lot easier to figure out. But they've both been just the epitome of mediocre. So I don't know. I'm just going to take the home team, which is obviously what Vegas just threw up their hands and said Cards -3. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to make it as close as you can, 21-20.
All right. Actually, you know what? Would you mind if I changed my upset pick from Houston to San Francisco?
No, no, no. Wait, but didn't
Wait,
you
wait.
actually just pick them to win?
Oh, yeah, wait. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Jesus.
That's okay. I did that
I
earlier
was,
this year. That's why I recognized it right away.
I was
Sorry.
looking at you because you said this, the you said the spread, and I was like, oh, that's a bigger spread than the Houston spread. I should you do that one instead. But I'm picking them. What an idiot! All
That's
right.
awesome. I did that. I literally did that same thing earlier this year. So that's why I recognized it instantly. All good
Wait a
stuff.
minute. I also picked Houston.
Oh, wait a second. But oh yeah, you did.
They can't be my upset. Jeez. Wow.
All right. Well, we'll how about the Giants?
I'll get to it. Jeez. What an idiot. I'll go with the New York Football Giants.
There it is. Nice, nice. I love it.
All right.
Love it. Okay. All right. Where does that take us now? Oh, okay. This means a lot to one team and nothing to the other, and that is the Chiefs at the Broncos.
Yes. Absolutely. The Broncos need this. And I think they're going to get it. Kansas City's not playing anybody. I don't believe in Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And it's in Denver, all that stuff. I'm going Denver to pull this one off 23-17. Um, yeah, with Kansas City not playing anybody and it meaning as much as it does to Denver, and they're playing everybody, and they're a good team. I do believe they're a good team. 23-17 Denver.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, this is a wild one. It's so weird. I mean, it's just the circumstances of the starters not playing, but it's so weird seeing the Chiefs as a 9.5 point underdog. Like that might, other than circumstances in the last week of the season like this, that probably hasn't happened for a decade. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and the Broncos have everything to play for, and I've been super impressed with them this year, just like the Chargers. And I think they're gonna pull. They played really well last week too, in a good game. They lost, but they played well.
Yep.
So I'm gonna pick them, and I'm gonna pick them pretty big, 32-15, just because the Chiefs have nothing to play for, and Carson Wentz is prone to making a just dramatically awful turnover here and there too, that results in pick sixes and fumble returns for touchdowns.
All right. I totally agree.
Right on, right on. All right. Another weird game that has backups involved. Seahawks at Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo is your starting quarterback. Blake Corum is your starting running back.
For the Rams.
Yes. Sorry, yes. Yeah, I should say that because we're used to Garoppolo being on another team for a long time.
Yeah. Seattle, are they playing everybody? I guess they're eliminated, so I guess they're just going to play everybody, right?
I guess, yeah. I'll try and find something while you're talking, but I'm just assuming they're going to play people, but I don't know.
Uh, I'm just going with the home team. I'm going Rams 28-25. I don't feel good about it. Seattle can definitely win this game. If the Rams are playing anybody, I can definitely see Seattle winning this if they are playing everybody. In fact, do I want to switch it? If I knew for sure Seattle was playing everybody and the Rams weren't, maybe I would switch that.
See, I would definitely if I knew that, but I don't.
I'm going to stick with it then. Rams 28-25 in a close game.
And Jimmy Garoppolo is a professional quarterback, so it's not like they're and Blake
Yeah.
Corum is a highly thought of rookie, and so they have some guys. So I don't know. I'm going the same way with you. What was your score again?
28-25.
Okay. I'm going same point differential, a little lower score, 23-20 Rams. But again, who the freaking heck knows?
Yeah, no idea.
Okay, and that leaves us with two more games. One more 4 o'clocker. Dolphins at Jets. And this game matters for the Dolphins.
Right. And the Jets stink.
And we don't know about Tua yet.
Right. I'm not going to caveat it though. They need it. It means too much to them. The Jets are just floundering. They just want this season to end. Looks like they're going to get rid of Rodgers now. They're going to just want to get him out of the building. He's looking for that 500th TD pass. I think he'll get it, and not much else. 20-10 Miami with the win. If Tua plays, probably a little bigger, but even without him, 20-10 Dolphins.
Right on. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and you clarified something I was going to bring up, which is Rodgers is going to play. And listen, the Jets is just a mess, and the Dolphins need this game. Whether it's Huntley or Tua, I'm taking the Dolphins. I would make it a bigger score for sure if I thought Tua was playing, but I'm going to make it 19-14 Dolphins.
Right on. Yep, absolutely.
And by the way, the one thing that really sucks with the Dolphins with Huntley is he does not throw the ball to running backs like Tua does. So Achan's all his special traits go right out the window when Huntley plays.
Yep.
All right, and that's it for the 4 o'clockers. And now we get to the game of the week by far.
Possibly game of the year.
Really, Vikings at Lions. Everything on the line.
Everything. Well, before I give my score and prediction, I want to hear yours.
I love it. I
Do
love it.
you believe?
Well, I fully believe in the Vikings now. I really do. This team has just listen. Darnold has been a revelation. The team has been incredible all year. Their defense is monstrous. Their running back is good. Their receivers are great. Everything about it is great. However,
However, same
listen.
word as last week. However,
Yep. Now here's the deal. Last week I picked the road team and I paid for it. This week I'm taking the home team, the Lions. If this was in Minnesota, I would have taken Minnesota. It's in Detroit. I'm taking Detroit 30-28 Lions.
all right. So you believe, but not enough to pick them in Detroit, and I agree.
Okay, I was curious to see how
I
far your
was
belief went.
tempted.
Okay.
I was tempted, very much so.
I was too.
Would not surprise me in the least if Minnesota wins this game, because it would be fascinating to me for them to be the number one seed,
Yeah, wouldn't
considering
it? What?
considering what we thought of them at the beginning of the year, for them to be
Great
the
call.
number one seed.
Great call.
But I don't see it in Detroit. That's the problem. Is they're playing in Detroit. Everything's on the line. 34-30 in another fun one from Detroit. I think it's going to be a lot of. I can't wait for this game. So that's where I'm going. 34-30 Detroit. And you went. What was your score?
It was 30. Wait, took my glasses off. Sorry. 30-28 Detroit.
All right. So we got a close win for Detroit both ways. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. And so by the way, now that we picked all the games,
Mm-hmm.
and we said last week we are tied at 180 and 76 in
Incredible.
picks this year.
How many did we do different this week?
We only did one, which means our entire year's picks predictions championship comes down to San Francisco and Arizona.
Oh my God, my hopes and dreams are riding on the Cardinals. Oh, this is bad.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, this is the only game we have different. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome, man! Wow. So
So,
a whole season of picks comes down to one game. I love it.
and it's not even a good game.
It's not even a good game. It's not even a good game. Nobody cares, and nobody's going to be in the playoffs. Oh, that's so awesome. Somehow that's perfect.
San Francisco and Arizona will decide our picks championship this year.
Oh my
You're
God.
trying to defend your title.
That is the best. That is the best. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. That's awesome.
Either way, no matter who wins and who loses, we're going to be one game within one game of each other
Yeah,
for the
it's
whole
incredible.
season.
It's incredible. The amount of games we pick. I don't care if no point spread. I don't care if we think alike. It's just insane that it's that close.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Um, let's do the
Mhm.
true and false first. Then we'll do the coaches.
Okay, I was going to ask. That's perfect. I love it. Okay. All right. So, first one, I'm going to start with a Hall of Fame question because some stuff just came out as they're whittling down the process right now. I would like to know your answer to this question. Your true and false to this statement. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer.
By the slimmest of margins, yes.
This is a tough one, man. And I'm still, like, honestly, I'm not going to raise a stink if he's in. I'm not going to raise a stink if he's out. I don't know. He played
I,
two of the best Super Bowls anybody's ever played in the history of the game.
two of the
But he
best Super
also,
Bowl runs. Don't forget, both of those runs, they were all road games,
yeah,
both times.
yeah. And one of them was the 16 or the last team to go undefeated in the regular season.
And
However,
he won the MVP of both of those games. He's got two MVPs and two Super Bowls. Just on that alone, he'd be the only quarterback ever to win two Super Bowls and not be in.
yeah, and listen, and that's a compelling case. It really is.
And that's why I have him in by the slimmest of margins
But
because his other numbers are not his. Well, he actually has quite a few passing yards. He's like top 15 passing yards. Not a lot of touchdowns, but he has a lot of interceptions. And his winning record, his record is like exactly 500
yeah, yeah.
for his career. But again, he's got those two, and I'll like I said, slimmest of margins because his other numbers are not Hall of Fame worthy. But he did have two magical runs.
Yeah, and see, I don't know for myself. I'm just not sure if that's worthy of the Hall of Fame or not. It's great, it's epic, it's amazing, but his career quarterback rating is lower than like 150 other quarterbacks. Like it's crazy. You know, like he would have the worst stats by far of any quarterback since like the 90s in the Hall of Fame. Like, and it's not really close. So it's just an interesting conversation to me. I don't I'm not going to be like no, you know what I mean? Like he definitely shouldn't. But I also don't feel that strongly about him being in. It's just an interesting one to me. It's a really fascinating one.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting in though, right?
I'm not sure. I
They
haven't
moved
followed
along
the.
in the process, and he's still alive.
He's still alive. Absolutely, he's absolutely still alive. I'm not sure if that means he's going to make it or not. Um, I will say this: if he makes it into the Hall of Fame, I'm pretty sure he's the only quarterback that's going to have a season where he threw 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions.
Yeah, he led the league in picks like three times, and he
yeah,
never led the league in yards or touchdowns.
yeah.
But he's
It's a
got
very
those two feathers in his cap, though, especially the one where New England was undefeated.
no doubt.
That's legend at that point.
No, for sure, for sure. And it's interesting because and then the two does make it more compelling, you know, because like I could list off probably 10 Super Bowl MVPs that aren't in the Hall of Fame and shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Desmond Howard had a magical Super Bowl, not even close to a Hall of Famer, you know?
right. But
Um,
he's a quarterback, and he did it twice.
yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know you get in the Hall of Fame for two
If
games.
he only did it
So
once, I'd say no.
if you say it again?
If he only did it once, I would say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, man. I don't
And
know.
it's weird. The seasons were out of nowhere. They weren't expected to do much. They weren't. They were wild card teams.
Yeah.
The year after they won the Super Bowl, both times they completely sucked. They were right
Right.
back to being like 6-10 the next year.
Yes.
It's so weird. They just went. It was like they got touched by a magic wand twice.
For real.
And
No, that's yeah, that's the perfect description. It really is, man. I love
I
it.
mean, going to Green Bay and beating Green Bay.
Yeah. That
That
Green
San
Bay team?
Francisco. Yeah, and that San Francisco game where he got his ass kicked. I will give Eli credit for this. He's a tough son of a bitch, that
Oh,
guy.
no doubt.
That game against San Francisco, he got the shit cracked, just kicked out of him. My God, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback get hit that often, that much, that hard, and just keep getting up and keep getting up and keep getting up. And his helmet's on, sideways. He has to straighten it out, and just never got hurt. He never got hurt.
He was so tough. Yeah. And it's so funny because he looks like a
Gomer.
uke, dork,
Go.
bookworm.
My biggest description of him has always been Gomer.
Gomer, perfect. That's it. He looks like a Gomer. Plus, he had that weird. Did you ever catch that weird hitch he had where he would fix his jersey like 14 times between plays?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the least inspiring looking dude ever, but then he just was so tough, man. Yeah, he was a conundrum. He was a conundrum wrapped
Yeah,
in a
I
riddle.
always think back to that San Francisco game. I thought for sure San Francisco was going to win that, and they kicked the hell out of him. I think there was something like 7 or 8 sacks and like 18 quarterback hits or something. He just got killed and somehow won the game.
Yeah, man. No, he was. He. And listen, as an Eagle fan, I know how this guy was in the clutch, no doubt about it. But it's
Yeah,
just funny because it just the stats just, I mean, clearly do not add up to Hall of Famer. So it's just it's an interesting mix. How much do you put into those Super Bowls? It's really interesting.
yep.
All right, two more, true or false. Sam Darnold will be a Viking next year.
Mm, true.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one because you got JJ McCarthy sitting there, right?
I think they're going to franchise him.
Now that makes sense.
He gets franchised this year. They let McCarthy get a year under him, and then he goes. The year he 2025 is his last year with the Vikings. 2026 he's somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now,
Let
yeah, that
McCarthy recover from the knee injury. Let him learn, and then Darnold moves on his way.
yeah, that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Now, if he has another year like this year, why would you even think about letting him walk?
What are you gonna do then? Then do you get rid of McCarthy?
Well, you don't even know what McCarthy is. Why would you give up a guy that's going 40-10 for a maybe?
So you keep them both for 26?
Look at what happened in San Francisco with Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's
Purdy
true.
played really well. They said adios, Trey.
Well, that's what I mean. So you would get rid of McCarthy.
Not right away, but if Darnold goes out and does something relative to what he does this year on a franchise tag, then I would definitely re-sign him and try and trade McCarthy. Yeah,
Okay, interesting. But I do think in 25 he is their quarterback because they're going to franchise him.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, now there's some background for this next one. Do you know who? This isn't the true or false, but do you know who has the single season receptions record for tight ends? Because we know Ditka had the yards. Do you know who has the receptions? It's not either the guys we talked about. It's not the guys this year.
For one season?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got your usual suspects of like a Tony Gonzalez
Nope. It
or the guy in San Diego. I always forget his
Gates.
Antonio Gates,
No. Great guesses. Incorrect both.
Kellen Winslow.
Nope.
Um,
I will say you're probably going to be a little surprised. It's not Evan Engram. But you're probably going to be a little surprised. In my mind, this guy is criminally underrated, and he's still in the league.
he's still in the league.
Yep. In fact, the record he set was in 2018. If that might help at all, it probably wouldn't, but because you're going to have to dig deep to come up with this one.
Not Travis Kelsey.
Nope, it's not. It's not anybody that anybody would list as one of the top, uh, as the best tight end at any point while he was playing, probably. Even though I think he had a good case for it for a couple of years.
I I don't know.
If you had gotten this, I would have been super impressed. Zach Ertz.
Really?
In 2018 with the Eagles, Zach Ertz had 116 catches for 1,163 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what. If McBride or Bowers catches another 12 passes this week, they're going to pass him.
Well, and you just led to my true or false. And here's the numbers exactly. McBride needs 12 catches to tie Ertz. Bowers needs 7. Somebody other than Zach Ertz holds the record after this week. True or false?
Bowers holds the record after this week.
I think they do everything in their power to get it to him.
Yep.
Now, last week,
As
they
a
were doing the
rookie.
same thing, and he only had 7 catches.
As a rookie.
Right.
All right, but he only needs 7, right?
Which would tie it. 7 would tie it. So, and if he did exactly what he did last week, which was a hell of a game, he's tied with Ertz.
I think he'll at least tie it, but if they're aware, and I'm sure they are, and they're not playing for anything, kind of like getting McBride that touchdown, they might force the ball to him and make sure he gets at least 8.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm going to say it's true that it gets broken, and I'm not going to go Eric Dickerson and like campaign on media sources for it not to get broken, but or 72 Dolphins. But
Yeah. Yep.
but I'd like the Eagle to hold on to the record. But I think Bowers is probably going to break it. I think the only thing that keeps him from breaking it is Aiden O'Connell getting hurt because
I mean, hey, it's not out of the realm that McBride gets like 15 catches and
dude,
beats them both.
he needs 12 to tie. He's had at least 12 catches 3 times this year.
Yeah, so he can do it.
Yeah, 100%. He could backdoor Bowers and Ertz and beat both of them.
Yeah, but I'll go with Bowers.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's closer. He's got the perfect setup for a game to
Uh,
just feed him.
Well, I'm going to present a question to you:
Yeah.
Bowers or McBride next year in fantasy?
Oh, Bud, man, that is so hard. I'd have to see what happens with the Raiders quarterback position because we know that McBride is a monster with Kyler Murray. And I'm assuming Kyler will be back next year, although if that changes, this changes my answer too. Um, but we don't know what the hell's going on in Oakland next year. It could be a rookie. It could be a free agent. It could
Yeah,
be Aiden O'Connell to start the year,
but
starting.
I would assume it's the bottom of the barrel would be O'Connell, and with him, you potentially broke the record.
Well, the bottom of the barrel is Desmond Ritter, and he had 3 catches playing with Desmond Ritter.
Oh, you're saying O'Connell not being there? I would assume O'Connell's going to be there, and even if they get somebody else,
Well,
I think he would be the backup.
even worse than Ritter might be a rookie quarterback that plays like Caleb Williams has this year.
Right, and they're probably going to draft the quarter. They're were they third?
Yeah, no, they dropped all the way to 7 after winning this week.
Oh, that's right, those idiots.
But they can gain a couple spots back, but they're not going to get 1 or 2.
So they're screwed.
Yeah,
Well,
so they're back to
you need to be 2 or 3 because the Patriots are 1 and they're not picking a quarterback.
yeah, they're like hoping Minnesota's not franchising Darnold and whoever else is out there as a free agent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's I'd have the quarterback situation's pending. If it's at least as good as O'Connell, all right, then I'd rather have Bowers.
Right.
But
Yeah, I think so too. But if yeah, depending on what happens, if it's a rookie, the thing is you don't know because a lot of times rookies will check down to tight ends a lot.
yeah, and it can be they call him the rookie's best friend, but you know, I mean, can you even tell me the Bears tight end's name?
Nope.
Yep,
Hold on, isn't it?
I know. I can. It's a guy that people have been waiting to break out for like 5 years.
I forgot. Yeah, I know. I know. If we said it, I would definitely. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I will go
Well,
Bowers.
I tried to look it up and I got Mike Ditka.
Yep. Well, he was.
That's so funny, man. It is Cole Kmet, by the way.
That's who it is. Cole Kmet.
That was going to
Yes.
drive me nuts. Yeah. So rookie quarterbacks can also make tight ends completely disappear off the face of the earth. It can go both ways.
Yep.
But yeah. So to answer your question, I'm gonna go Bowers just because I think that highly of him. But yeah, I might want to change that
I
before.
wouldn't be. I wouldn't be upset with
I'd
McBride
be
at all.
thrilled with either one, and they're probably 1 and 2 right next year, given Kittle and Kelsey's age.
Yeah, you figure Kittle would be there, Laporta. That's about it. Kelsey's farther down. Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe Kittle could stay above one or both of them for one more year. Kelsey's not going to,
No, Kelsey, yeah.
and I love him, but he's
Unless it's the last 5 weeks of the year.
exactly in the playoffs. Yep, if they counted the playoffs, we could put him back in the top two. No, that's great. That's a great question, man. Yeah, that's a tough answer, but I'd be thrilled with both. But I think I'd lean Bowers by a hair.
Yep. All right. I came up with this idea real quick. Nothing major. We can just kind of go through quickly. In terms of coaches that we think are on the hot seat, that are going to go, that are going to get fired, most likely on Black Monday. So the first one that I have here is Peterson from Jacksonville, and I think he's gone.
That is a lock, my friend. I'm only surprised that it didn't happen when they got beat by 40 points earlier this season. It was the only surprise to me is that he made it through this season. But yeah, he's gone. I love Doug forever. He won a Super Bowl for my Eagles, but you can't make a case for him coming back. You just can't.
All right. Next, and I agree. Next is Callahan in Tennessee.
Okay, now that's an interesting one because that's where you. I don't have him on my list. Only because
Okay.
it's year one, but that doesn't guarantee anything, and it's been so bad that you could make a really good case.
I think he's going to stay only because they're probably going to get a quarterback too because they're number three, right? I'm pretty sure they're in position to get a quarterback.
Yeah, they're right there. Yep,
You got to
I'm
give him
pretty
a
sure they're three
chance
right
with.
now.
I think you're going to have to give him since it's year one. You got to give him a chance with his guy with a new quarterback.
I agree. It's very unusual for a coach to get fired after 1 year. It does happen, and this is a bad enough season where it could happen. But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to. I think they want to give him a shot to build a little bit of something here, and because we didn't see anything of what he was bringing from the Bengals. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Because it was exciting. It was an exciting hire. You know what I mean? Because he was coming from a great offense. So yeah, let's see if he can turn it around in year two. But it's a short leash already after this year.
All right. Yes or no?
No. Wait, are we saying yes? Here he's getting fired, or yes, he's coming back?
Well, all right. Fired or not?
Okay. No.
I agree. He's not going to. I don't think so either.
Okay.
Antonio Pierce.
Fired.
Unfortunately, I agree. I think fired. Same thing. They're also looking for the quarterback. Give it to a new coach, new fresh start. Um, Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. He has not progressed. I really was rooting for him. I was excited when he got the hire. I was excited that he got the chance for the entire year this year. It just hasn't worked out, and I think he's gone.
I agree with everything you said. You put it perfectly. I was rooting for him big time. His last year, he had one hell of a run as a interim coach.
Yep.
And he earned this, clearly earned this. But this season went badly, and it wasn't like there was a team meeting halfway through the season about things being too lax. So it wasn't just their performance. There was like whispers about him as a leader, which really surprised me after last year. So hopefully, I hope he gets another chance down the road, but he might not, honestly. But yeah, I don't see how he can survive this year. So I'm with you.
All right. Mike McCarthy.
Okay, but you're answering this one first. I need to hear your answer.
Uh, I want to say yes, he's going to get fired, but I don't think he's going to. I'll be surprised if he does. I want him to,
I agree.
but I think he's going to stay. Um, for all the craziness surrounding Jerry Jones all the time, he gets a little bit of a bad rap in terms of coach turnover. He really doesn't turn over coaches that much, and he doesn't like to do it. He's stuck with what's his face forever.
Oh yeah, no, and if he has a rap from me personally, it's that he holds on to coaches too long.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think he wants to get rid of Mike McCarthy. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. I want it to happen, but if I have to say one way or the other, I think he stays.
Listen, I agree, and as an Eagle fan, I'm happy about it. But it's just weird, man. Like, I mean, at their worst this season, Jerry was doubling down on McCarthy
Right,
at
and
their
then they won
worst,
4 out of 5 games.
and then he got better. So he's going to fire him after that.
Yeah.
So now last week's performance against the Eagles, if it's tenuous at all, which I don't really think it is, I think Jerry's that stubborn. But if it was tenuous at all, last week could have knocked him into the getting fired category. But I don't think it
Well,
was. I think Jerry would rather lose 50 more games over the next 5 seasons than admit he was wrong about anything.
do you think if Washington blows them out, that'll do? Because that'll be 2 in a row in the division.
I think it's possible. I think then we have a conversation. But Jerry's so damn stubborn, man. Like I think he is. I think his heels are dug in on this one.
Yep,
And,
I agree.
I think he'll. I think he'd rather, like I said, I think he'd rather lose than admit to everybody he was wrong earlier this year. So McCarthy's coming back in my mind. I'm with you.
Kevin Stefanski for Cleveland.
Oh, now that's a tough one, dude. I I'm gonna say no. And I'm going to say no on the assumption, and I don't know if I'm right about this. I don't know enough about Cleveland's owners, but I'm going to say no on the assumption that they know that they saddled him with an albatross in Deshaun Watson. The dude made the playoffs last year with backups, and listen, this season has been epically bad for them. But they saddled him with a quarterback that can't play. So I don't know, man. What do you think on this one? I'm going to say he is not getting fired.
Is this year 2
I think it's a little more than that. Let me
or
pull up his
3?
stats. I'm not sure. Let me just pull it up. Here we go. Stefanski. Well, he's 40 and 42. So what does that add up to? Here we go. Oh, geez, this is year 1, 2, 3. This is year 5, believe it or not. He
In
was,
Cleveland?
yeah. Just so you have context here, he went 11-5 in his rookie season as a coach, won a playoff game, and then lost to Kansas City in the next round. I didn't remember that. Then he went 8-9, 7-10, missed playoffs both years. Then last year went 11-6, and then this year 3-12.
I'm going to say he's going to go.
Yeah, that's
Five
reasonable too, man.
years is enough time, and even with the quarterback problem, I think they're going to have to get a new quarterback in there. And I know it's not going to be anybody sexy because they're paying so much to Watson, uh, and it's all guaranteed, as we know. Um, but I think you got to get a new quarterback in there somehow, some way, and give a new coach the chance to work with him, and just a new regime, new voice. And 5 years is a long enough time for sure. And that's where I land on it. I think Stefanski is a good coach. I think he's going to have no problem getting another job. Um, Maybe not next year immediately, but he'll be a coach again in the league. And yeah, that I think he has a good shot of getting fired.
Yeah, this one's like 50-50 to me, man. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
going to say
this is a tough
no.
one.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with no just because of the whole Deshaun Watson situation, but you can make a really good case. I mean, that he should be fired. So, I don't know. This one could go either way. I'm just going to lean on the fact that he made the playoffs last year, and when they shoved Deshaun Watson down his throat again this year when he was healthy, he didn't. So we'll see
Yep.
though. He didn't win anything without Deshaun either. So
Yeah. All right. Shane, is it Shane Steichen?
yes, yes.
Shane Steichen.
Mm. Man, I'll tell you what, dude. That I would have said you're crazy to even ask until that loss to the Giants.
Yep. That's
Uh,
why he's on here. He wasn't on here until they lost.
yeah, and that loss was bad, man. bad.
Yep.
So I want to see. I'm going to pull up his record here while we're talking. Um, this is year 3 for them or 2. I can't. I'm losing track as I get older. It's harder to keep track of these things. This is year 2. Okay, so he was 9-8 first year, and he's going to end up either 7-10 or 8-9 this year. I'm going to say no because the Anthony Richards situation, and he's got them close to 500 both years with a quarterback who is one of the most insanely wild roller coaster rides of a quarterback that I've ever seen. Who also has missed what 15 games in 2 years or something.
Yes. And I agree. I'm going to say that he stays. It's only 2 years, but he's attached to the quarterback. It's
Yeah,
his guy. You got to let him, had a tough year with the quarterback this year. Got to let him try to get that fixed, get that straightened out, because if they do get it straightened out, we also saw the good side of Anthony Richardson a lot last year, and he can win some games. He could become something, and I think his best chance would be with his coach that he knows that it's been there for a couple of years. So at least one more year for Steichen for me.
I'm with you 100%. Yeah, that and like you said it perfectly. They are attached at the hip, and like Steichen's entire future as the Colts head coach is revolving around whether he can get this guy to play football
Yep.
because he's not going to get a second chance at another quarterback. I mean, there's no way. He's either going to win with Richardson next year or they're going to both go down in flames. It's going to be fascinating to watch. The only saving grace to that is if they get a monster backup quarterback for when
Right.
Richardson either fails or gets hurt.
Yep. 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 All right. Gerard Mayo
Fired.
fired.
And I hate to like after 1 year, it's a lot.
Yeah, but it's bad, and he's showing nothing.
I agree. I agree. Now the only thing that might save him is he was the owner's pick. Like he was a pet pick of the owner. Um,
Right, and it's 1 year with the quarterback, same kind of scenario where you stick with the coach and quarterback at the same time.
yes, but I'm with you, man. It was so bad there this year. And listen, defense is supposed to be his specialty, and their defense is awful.
Yeah. Yep.
So I would say fired, but I wouldn't be stunned if he's back only because of the 1 year thing and the fact that he's the owner's guy.
I agree. I agree. But if it's up to me, and if I'm picking, and I think what's going to happen is he's gonna go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if it was up to me, 100%, and if I'm betting on it, I bet on him going, but I'm nervous about
Right. Right.
it.
All right. The last one on my list is Dable
Fired.
staying.
Yeah, and I hope you're right. I hope you're right because that means that whole regime is staying, and I would love
Well,
it.
that's another thing too. Is what's the dumber move? Is the dumber move is for him to stay? So I assume the Giants
Yeah,
would do the dumber thing.
I love that. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. It's just hard for me to imagine anybody surviving a season this bad. I mean, this is a bad season for the ages. So I just have a hard time seeing anybody survive it. But God, I hope you're right.
Yeah. The the one way I would be a little bit more on board with it is if they were going to get one of those top two quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
As I described in the last pod, we went into this a little bit. It makes no sense to keep him unless they're going to give him a young quarterback. That's supposed to be his speciality. That's supposed to be what he's good at, working with the young quarterbacks, and he hasn't had that chance yet. And this would be the opportunity to give him that chance. But they blew it by winning last week, and they're not getting one of those young quarterbacks. And because of that, he's got to go. Because if that's what he's good at, you can't give him a chance to actually do it.
Right.
Then why is he there?
Right. Absolutely.
Especially with that record.
Yes, I completely agree. And I would also argue that he had his chance with a young quarterback because Daniel Jones was like 24 when he joined the team, and that failed miserably.
Right. Well, the first year he was really good, and then the next year he got hurt, and then when he after that, every time he played, he was just awful.
Yeah, something
Um,
happened there, man. That's just so weird. It's
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think he could definitely go. I wouldn't be surprised. As you know, same as a lot of these guys. But I got a feeling they're gonna like draft like some random QB in like round 2 or 3 and try to get him to work with that guy.
Oof. Yeah, that's yeah, Beck or Jackson Dart.
Yeah, somebody like that. Because they're not gonna unless they fall into one of those two picks. The thing is, they're gonna have to make the decision by then.
Right.
Um, but I think if they're picking number 3 instead of 4, if they move up one somehow with everybody losing and whatever the scenarios are, um, then I could see them sticking with him because you got to assume New England is not taking a quarterback, and
Yeah.
then Tennessee or Vegas, whoever's next, and then if the Giants are third, they'll get one of them, and then it's okay. Then Brian Dable can do what he does. But if they stay 4 and it's Tennessee and Vegas in front of them, both of those teams are taking those two quarterbacks.
Right. I absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And if they keep Dable and they have the 4th pick or worse, it tells you they are going to mortgage everything to get up and get one of those quarterbacks, right?
That would be the only scenario that would make sense for them to keep him. Would be
Yeah.
they have to get one of those two, and no matter what it takes, they're going to do it.
Oh God, I hope they keep him because then they would mortgage and they
Yeah,
don't. If they finish 4th or worse and they keep him, and then they mortgage their future for one of the 2 shakiest quarterback prospects I've seen that they're going to go 1-2 overall. Oh please,
yeah,
please.
yeah. Because they're going to go. It's like I think it's like two number ones and a number 2 and like a number 5 or something. It's something like that. It's crazy. It's like
Man.
this year's number 1, obviously. Next year's number 1, and I think like next year's maybe this year's number 2 and next year's number 5. It's like 4 or 5 picks, and they're not even that low picks. One is a 5th rounder, but everything else is actually way up there.
Yeah, it's a haul. Just to move up in that portion of the draft is going to be an arm and a leg. So
They
yeah,
tried to
man.
do it last year to move up from 7 to go get Drake May, and the Patriots won him. But the thing is, now they don't. The Patriots don't need him, so I think the Patriots. That's another thing too. Is if they're picking third and they keep Dable, there's a chance somebody gets the trade with New England and jumps over them, and they
Totally.
still don't get either one of them.
Totally. Yeah. That's why, I mean, it's a lot. Unless you are locked in at 1 or 2, it is a lot to gamble on if they're looking at it like we only want Dable to develop a young quarterback. That's a big gamble.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's fascinating, man. That's a lot of good points you brought up about that whole situation. I'm fascinated by it. Boy, if he survives this season, man, he should go right to the owner's house and give him a big old present.
Yep. Totally agree. Do you have anybody else on the list that I didn't have?
Um, Hold on one sec here. I don't think so, but let me just make sure. Oh, you know what? I did want to mention since we were talking about Steichen, I wanted to
Yep.
talk about the Gannon in Arizona
Oh yeah.
because he's not far off the. I don't think he's going to get fired. I really don't. I just wanted to bring it up as a quick discussion point because he is very similar. His record is very similar to Gannon's. What is it actually? They've both been coaching for the same amount of time, 2 years. And where's the damn record? Oh, well, first year he went 4-13. I'm sorry, I gave him too much credit that first season. I forgot they really stunk. And this year he's got him up to 7-9. So it's interesting because he's showing, I guess, showing growth, even though they felt so wildly inconsistent this year. But he's got this the same record as the Colts head coach, and we're talking about him might maybe getting fired, but this guy not because of that crazy Giants game, which is totally understandable. Um, but yeah, is this guy on your radar at all? I mean, I'm certainly not expecting you to tell me he's getting fired, but what do you think of that name?
Um. No, I considered him. Yeah. I guess he wouldn't get fired, but would you be surprised if he stayed if he did get fired? I'd be mildly surprised, but not crazy surprised.
Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. Yeah, mildly surprised. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they did it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, he wasn't killing it. You know.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is maybe because last year they didn't have Kyler Murray for most of the year, and this year they did, and they only improved by marginally improved and still didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly, and it was so inconsistent. That's the thing that kind of
Right.
you could never ever get a handle on what this team was going to do week to week
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I mean, last year, first year, Murray was in and out, no
Yep.
way to get gauge really, and this year he was there, and they still didn't do what they wanted to do. And I think maybe they were thinking better things with a year, full year of Murray, and it didn't happen. So that's the only angle you could take at it if you think he's going to get fired.
Right. That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. That's why I wanted to bring it up to you because I knew you'd hit it on the head. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. But I think that's it, man. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. All right, man. So, um, what was I going to say? So next week, we're going to have our two podcasts again. We're going to review week 18 and we're going to preview week one of the playoffs, the wild card round. And then after that, we'll be going to one podcast a week because there's only a few games a week. We can do the review and preview in one show. That's what we'll do. So next week is the last week with two pods.
Yes. Yes. Love it.
Yes. And also, we're going to do a baseball pod. It looks like it's going to be on this channel with Jordan from the Baseline. Make sure you check out the Baseline for all your baseball podcasts, um, information and needs and all that cool stuff and the lists he does and everything. So make sure you guys check that out. Me and Al appear on there fairly often, but it looks like it's going to be on this podcast tomorrow for some baseball free agency.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it big time. And shout out to Jordan. And let me just say one specific thing. He did a very nice, fairly pretty like maybe 15-minute long. It's not super long, but it's super nice tribute to Ricky Henderson when Ricky Henderson passed about a week ago. That is up on
Yes.
his Jordan's Baseline.
Ricky Henderson, I think, is not thought of as highly as he should be.
Well, not by this guy because I'm with you 100%. I when you texted when he died, best leadoff hitter of all time, 100%.
Yes, best leadoff hitter of all time, most stolen bases by a mile, and it's not ever going to get even sniffed again.
No, it's not even close.
So that's a forever record
Yep.
that he's going to have. And he also has the most. I think it's the most. Well, obviously, the most leadoff home runs, most runs scored of anybody. I mean,
I mean, that's crazy.
This is a guy leading two of the five big categories of all time. He leads two of them.
Yeah, it's nuts. And he
No,
was a
nobody else leads two of them. Nobody.
no, and he was a modern stat era darling before the modern stats caught up to him because he was a massive on base percentage guy too.
Yeah, just insane. One of the best ever. He's right. He to me in my lifetime, he's right up there with all the greats that I consider the best of the '80s, '90s, all the way up to today. He's right near the top, right there with all
Yeah.
of them.
And this dude loved baseball as much as anybody that ever played the game. This guy was playing in I forget what's the name of the league, man. We had
Yeah,
a
some independent league in
yeah.
his like late 40s, early 50s, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
he was playing for. I think it's like the Long Island Sound or something like that, or the Long Island. I forget the team, but in Lancaster, where I live, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, they're now affiliated with somebody. I don't pay attention much, but they're affiliated with a major league team now. But they were in that independent league when they first started, the Lancaster Barnstormers, about 20 years ago, and so Ricky would come and play in Lancaster every now and then when he was playing at like 52 years old and playing for some team from Long Island. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that dude he wasn't doing it for money because they weren't paying him anything. And
Yeah.
he was just
He
doing
did
it
it.
because he still loved to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Love Ricky Henderson. Love the stories. Ricky Henny always talk to him about himself in the third
Oh,
person.
Ricky B. Ricky.
Yeah, and he called himself Ricky Henny.
Ricky Henny. Ricky Henny. And Ricky got to be Ricky.
And when he stole the record breaking stolen base when he beat Lou Brock's, he said, "Today I am the greatest of all time."
Yeah.
That is perfect.
He is a quote machine. We talked about Yogi Berra when we did the catchers.
Yep.
And Yogi is probably the all-time quote machine, but Ricky is right there with him, man. Like he's
Today,
right there with him.
and the John Olerud story when he didn't realize he played with him before,
Oh, yeah, tell us.
where he was on, I forgot, I guess it was the Mets. I don't really remember, but he was playing with John Olerud, and John Olerud, if you don't know, had a brain surgery, had a brain condition where he had to wear his batting helmet, the hard
Yeah,
helmet,
in the
on the
field.
field
Yep.
so he wouldn't get hit, because if he got hit in the head, it was really dangerous for him.
Yep.
So he wore that in the field. And Ricky Henderson comes up to him and is like, "Hey, John, I noticed you wear the helmet on the field." And yeah, I got the brain condition, whatever. And then he says, "That's really strange because I remember when I played in Toronto, there was a guy who did that." And he's like, "Yeah, Ricky, that was me."
Oh, Ricky. Ah, man,
Love
Ricky's
it.
the best, man. When we do outfielders eventually, uh, we're going to tell a lot of Ricky Henderson stories.
Yes, because he'll be on that list.
No doubt about it, my man. No doubt about it.
He's in my top 10 outfielders for
Oh,
sure.
I'm not even quite, not even quite, without even thinking about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm a massive Ricky guy like you.
yeah. Actually, yeah, he's one of my favorite players of all time.
No, me too. Yep. And Ricky, go be Ricky in the afterlife, buddy, because you were the best. You were one of the best of all time.
Yeah, his numbers are stupid. 130 steals in 1 year. My
Yeah,
God.
it's crazy. And he was good for a long time. Like a
Yep.
long,
And
long
he wasn't like a burner. Like he was fast, obviously, but he was just smarter than
smart.
everybody, and he read the pitchers better than anybody ever. And he reached his top speed after like 2 steps.
Yeah. No, he was so smart and so like that he had that acceleration.
Yeah, like a
And
guy like Vince Coleman stole a lot of bases because he was just so damn fast.
yeah, Vince, listen, Vince was something else. But if Ricky had Vince's wheels, he would have stolen another 1,000 bases.
Yeah. So, all right, let's we'll wrap it up. So that's tomorrow, right here on Perks Recap Podcast. We're going to go over the baseball free agents. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Jordan will join us. Al, do you have anything else to add?
No, man, I think we covered it well. Can't wait to see how this turns out. And yeah, can't wait to talk
Yes.
about playoff football next week.
Yep, it begins starting next week. Can't wait. All right. Until next time, I will see you later.